Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, we cover a wide variety of topics on this channel. We talk about movies. We talk about comic books sometimes. You know, comic books are irrelevant at this point, but we do sometimes talk about it. Anime and manga and video games. Today we're going to be talking about an anime movie that is taking place in the world of Lord of the Rings. Now, before I get to that, I want to give a sincere and heartfelt thank you. Because in my last video, there were some incredible, generous people that decided to super chat and to give financially to the channel. Now, I want you to understand what that means to me. And these people were extremely generous. It was a lot of money. We're talking like 30 British pounds and stuff like that. I understand what $1 is worth. I understand how important that money is to people. And so whether it's $1 or whether it's $30, the fact that people would give of themselves to my channel, which by the way will always be free, but the fact that you had people that were willing to do that, it means more than you can possibly know. And so I want to take a moment to say thank you. I'm not going to call you out by name because I don't know if that's something that you would want. But the people that did that, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It's a tremendous thing to give of yourself, especially in this economy. So thank you for that. If you don't have the means to support the channel financially, totally understand. Subscribing is also a great way to show your support. We have a lot of fun in the YouTube community tabs, and if you're subscribed, you get notified of just brilliant shit posts like this. Siri, that you? And, things like this. Gillette, the best a man can get. These are the sort of things that you can expect if you subscribe to the YouTube community tab, and people have a great time in the comments, just having a good old time. So if you want to join the brotherhood, if you want to join the community, give us a subscribe. My content will always be free, and I definitely appreciate and value your contribution. So we're going to be talking about this video here today. It's not as bad as people are saying. And I agree. It's not as bad as people are saying. It's worse. Moist Critical, he is such a disappointment. And I'm not going to get too much into disparaging the guy, but Moist Critical is like somebody that seems like they were designed to be based, and then just something happened. And it turns out that they're just incredibly woke, formulaic, corporate. And I'll explain what I mean. I have disagreements with Asmongold on certain opinions, but I respect the hell out of Asmongold because he covers a lot of hot button issues, a lot of things that are currently relevant, and he talks about it openly and honestly and forthrightly. Now, whether I agree or disagree with some of his takes, I respect the hell out of that. Moist Critical avoids all of those topics like the plague. And when it comes time to talk to the audience about a movie like this, do you think that he mentions wokeness or the fact that you had an obscure, completely irrelevant female character from the books that was turned into the girl boss and made the focus of this and can compete in hand-to-hand combat with a man? Oh, I'm just as capable as a man. Do you think that he talks about that, references that? Do you think that he talks about it critically, even if he does? The answer is always no. Because people like Charlie, they are more interested in getting exclusive deals, being received well by brands. He wants to get in good and ingratiate himself with the system. And I don't. I think being honest and calling these things out is far more important, because if you are not able to recognize the fact that wokeness is a cancer and it has infected everything, and it is a pernicious, completely virulent, disgusting cult, and these people are mentally ill and deranged and demonic and absolutely depraved, and their view of the world is anti-reality. You have these people so delusional that they believe that they can create a better story from Tolkien's work, and they never can. The best that you could do is make it as accurate to what the genius put on paper. But no, they think they can do better. We can do better. These gamer chuds, these fantasy losers, they don't really understand. So their idea is, hey, let's take a Halo series. Let's have it be about Master Chief showing his emotion, taking off his helmet. Oh, brilliant. These retards that are the people that are in Moist Critical's orbit, by the way, the people that would be more amenable to his particular position. And don't think I forgot, by the way, that Moist Critical lost his debate against Sneeko. And Sneeko's position was against the age of consent. I don't even know how you do that. But the point is that you have a movie that is so bad from its very conception that you're going to take a random, anonymous character and turn them into the main character. This didn't work with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where you took, oh my God, there was a black person in feudal Japan? Well, what if we made him the first samurai? What if we take that and have him, it's like, no, it never works. An anonymous, irrelevant, completely mysterious character that was basically a triviality for Nobunaga, like a joke, a pet, basically. Yeah, we're going to take that guy. He was a badass, honor-bound samurai, and it's like, when you do this, when you take a character that is completely and totally irrelevant, and you make the movie about them because they happen to hit the right, they happen to hit the right immutable characteristics for you. This time it's a woman, and she's in a man's world, and she's going to teach them hand-to-hand combat, and she's going to show them what honor really, it's like, there's a reason why her role was completely irrelevant, because it's not about that. It's never been about that, which is why these people fail, because they focus on the wrong thing. And so, without further ado, we're 8 minutes in. Let's watch part of Moist Critical's video here. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. If you want to watch the whole thing, you can go to his channel.
Back from seeing the Lord of the Rings anime movie, War of the Rohirrim, I noticed that this film was getting slammed and jammed by reviewers out there. It's also not exactly popping off in the box office. The word of mouth is a little stinky at the moment, which I was pretty surprised by, because I mean, it's a Lord of the Rings anime. How could you possibly fumble that? It's kind of a wacky, zany idea to combine Lord of the Rings with anime, but I definitely think conceptually it can work. And I'd say for the most part it does in this movie, but it doesn't really shine. The movie is not nearly as dog shitty as a lot of people are saying that it is. It's not a bad film by any means, but it's also not a great one. I'm seeing a lot of people now that have gone out to see it saying, like, it's the best adaptation, you know, this is one of the finest anime movies ever made. That's also exaggerated. I'm thinking this film really is tap dancing on that line between good and okay. That's, for me, where it's living. Really, the big thing is, I feel like the film was too long, yet still felt like it didn't fully deliver the story beats that it wanted to. I'm no scholar when it comes to Tolkien's work, so I don't know the lore that this is based on, but it felt like things moved extremely fast, even though the film was 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is long for an animated feature, an anime animated feature. And I can kind of feel that took its toll in the animation department, because a lot of times the film is choppy, especially in the beginning. And I think it's because they needed to spread out this budget, I think it was $30 million, across 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's chunky. There's a lot of meat on those bones. That shit's not boneless either. So that's kind of a tall order. So I think they were cutting corners, especially when it came to like horses. Yeek. So in the beginning of the film, we're introduced to like the big villain that's going to be the catalyst for everything that comes to follow. Like what actually starts this war. His name is Freka. I think it's Freka. I'm already forgetting if it was Freka or Frekhan. I'm not entirely sure, but he gets frecked up and shit goes cattywampus. Anyway, he barges in on the king, Helm Hammerhand, and he's proposing some slimy dealings. And when he's in there and he's talking in front of the king around everyone, he's doing this the entire time he's talking. It's like he's a puppet on strings, like a marionette. And then, oh God. And then when he gets to like the fight, because he's disrespected the king and the king is seeing right through his ruse, in the fight, he's still like gesturing like this. And it's like I was looking at a fucking animatronic out of Chuck E. Cheese. Like I half expected like a Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare to come out with the way that this guy was gyrating and gesturing. He was fucking spamming emotes. And the fight was really nothing special. Like, there's a lot of action in the film, and some of it's pretty good. It has a wide array of, damn, this is pretty hype, all the way to, damn, I've seen stick figures that had better fight scenes. And one of those is the very first one with Helm Hammerhand against Freka. So they get into their little tussle, and Freka gives him a little combination, which Helm brushes off because he's a badass. Helm is a very cool character. Helm Hammerhand,
True.
By far the best part of this movie, an absolute standout character.
Absolutely.
Reminds me of something out of like season 1 of Vinland Saga.
Yeah, Helm Hammerhand is, I mean, it's like a lot of people don't realize that he's, Helm's Deep is named after Helm Hammerhand. Yeah, he's an awesome, badass character. And that's why the majority of it was about him. And not his completely anonymous random daughter.
And in response, he takes those blows like a fucking man, and he just delivers an absolute clobbering. One single punch, socks Freka in the jaw, and it sends him spiraling, barrel rolling through the air, and he dies from the one punch.
Damn.
He actually just one-tapped this man.
Yep.
Right in front of his son. His son, whom a moment ago was confessing his love to our main character, Hera. Now, I don't know the lore, again, that this is based on, but
It's like, look, if you don't know the lore, and you don't care about the lore, fine. Why the fuck wouldn't you do your due diligence and at least look it up? I think that he does know the lore, if you want to know the truth of it. I think he knows perfectly well that she's not part of it. She's not at all part of the story. But he doesn't want to tackle that. He doesn't want to be honest about that. I think that he knows. This is a guy that has involved himself with Warhammer 40k lore. And as somebody in Warhammer 40k, as somebody who is deep into that lore, I know that if you are willing to invest yourself in Warhammer 40k lore, you are willing to do the bare minimum to invest yourself in the lore of Lord of the Rings. I mean, I don't buy this for a sec. Oh, I didn't, hey guys, much critical here. I didn't know that she was a completely irrelevant, nameless character. It's like, she had no role because a woman in this particular story had no place, as evidenced by this movie. Tolkien did not make a mistake. But guys, I didn't know.
I understand it, in the Tolkien lore, she's not really a big character there, but in here, she is our main character, and it just doesn't feel like she had a ton to do. Like, she contributes to the story of it, like, she gets kidnapped at one point, and then that, of course, leads to Helm getting really upset about it, and disregarding her advice and, like, the advice of somebody else as well, and makes a very rash decision. And the film has a similar theme to something that was present in the Peter Jackson trilogy, which is about the stubbornness of men. And even though Hera is present throughout the film and greatly contributes to the story, it just didn't feel like she had a lot to do. Like, she's not out on the front lines fighting, even though she wants to. Helm says, absolutely no, putting the kibosh on that, that's not happening. She even gets kidnapped at one point, but she doesn't free herself or like outsmart the enemy, she just gets saved by others, and then when she's returned, she is once again just kind of disregarded.
Because she's not a character. Like, you understand, these people, these freaks in Hollywood, they're like, we need to have a female lead. We need to have a female lead character. Do we have anyone? No, there's nobody. What about this character that's basically not even in the book? This character who's, this character who's the daughter? Yeah. Well, what if we make her the main character of this? That's a terrible idea. I love it.
So it just kind of feels a little underwhelming that she didn't get to do more. Even when she like observed something at the enemy stronghold, the information she got from that didn't matter to the story because it's information Helm and everybody else had already gotten by the time she had realized it. So
he's like, well, hey guys, most critical here. That's a perfect face. Hey guys, most critical here. Yeah, I really wanted her to do more. I know I don't know anything about the lore, but I really wanted to. It's like, she wasn't in the story. Like, I don't mean that she was like, oh, she was part of the main group. And no, she was, honestly, she was a nobody. She was an absolute nobody. She was only there to serve one role and one function, which is to create a little bit of drama between the two kingdoms. That was it. She was there to create a little bit of drama. That's it. Hey guys, I don't understand. Why did this girl boss empowered main character not have a bigger role? It's like, because you had a bunch of amateurs, a bunch of fucking degen retards, a bunch of left-wing, head-up-their-own-ass narcissistic freaks that thought that they could do it better. But the problem is, they had to be reined in to kind of keep it within the framework because they couldn't go too off the rails. So they had to have her in there as the girl boss and the empowered character, but she couldn't really contribute to the story too much because she's not even fucking in there.
it just felt like she didn't get to do a lot until like the very end of the movie.
Oh.
She was more so just watching Helm Hammerhand. It really felt like Helm Hammerhand was supposed to be like the main character in some.
It's almost like he was the main character, and then a bunch of disgusting freaks said, "You know what? We're gonna have a girl. We're gonna have a girl boss be the main." Yes, most critical. He cracked the magician's code. He wasn't in the story. It was his story. Do you understand why people like myself and others are so harsh on Moist Critical and so harsh on Hollywood and so harsh on this industry? Because these people take things that worked and were good and beloved and they intrude on it and alter it and pollute it. And they have no right to, but they do it all the damn time. And so we're at a point now where this guy manages to figure it out by accident. Because it's so obvious she wasn't meant to be in the story. It was his story.
Some way. Because most of the film is all about him and his overwhelming brute strength. And they show him like just beating the shit out of people, popping their heads off like it's Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and everyone's talking about
how cool would that movie have been if he were the main character and they were allowed to do like a Street Fighter, like maybe Dynasty Warriors, brutal, masculine combat about war and power and like a Game of Thrones style. You know, I said they always want to do Game of Thrones style, but I'm talking about like kings vying for power, strength, masculinity, you know, guy walking in there saying, "I'm going to marry your daughter." You know, just Giga Chad energy. No, instead we gotta have a more feminine tone. The badass main character. He can't be the badass main character because we have to have a girl.
Helm, and it's all about Helm's strategies. And since he's not listening to Hera, his daughter, a lot of the movie is spent with her having to like kind of just go behind his back to do things to save their people because he's being way too rash about it. But it just feels underwhelming that she didn't get to do.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, the typical undermining of the masculine male character. And it's always the girl boss who comes in and saves everything. And she's the one, she's the reasonable one. That is just anti-reality. It's bullshit. These people are freaks in the entertainment space. They don't understand how to make a good story. They can't make anything compelling. They are just completely up their own ass. And Lord of the Rings, unfortunately, suffers as a result of these people meddling and not understanding the power with which they wield. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.